is Bill Carkeek. He's the lifetime family friend, and he served in Vietnam from 1969 to 1970. And I'm interviewing him today because I'm very interested in his military past in Vietnam. What was your life like before your military experience in Vietnam?
I was a typical 19-year-old kid and was going to college, and I actually had a student deferment, so I wouldn't even have to go on to in the military, but I gave that up and I enlisted, and then I think back then it was just more of a sense of patriotism and everything, and had no idea, of course, I'd end up in Vietnam, but I did. When I went to Vietnam, I was 20 years old. I was just a country 20-year-old kid, not very mature, and in fact, I turned 21 over there in 1970. I think the military, if the military did anything positive for me, it helped me grow up and be a better person. I really do believe that. Which kind of set me in place to after I got out, I wanted to do something in the service part, But I was just a typical 19-year-old kid, didn't have much direction, wasn't doing well in college, and I thought, well, that's kind of a good thing to do.
What was your rank and responsibility?
Well, I was a sergeant, and my main responsibility, I was in charge of a security alert team, which manned commando cars and armored personnel carrier, and it was mostly for the defense of the base. Rather large base, and all on the outside of the perimeter of the base we had posts set up, with to where we was, watching for ground troops, especially, or mortar and rocket attacks, which was very frequent. And I was also when I was in command of the security alert team, I had a group of 7 guys that was under me, and then for 90 days over there, I was actually a gunner on a Huey helicopter, which was probably saw more action as a gunner on a helicopter than any other time. We was responsible for, the weaponry. We was responsible for the ammunition, getting the ammunition out to the guys and stuff like that.
How were you welcomed home from the war?
Not very well. I think at the time, the public opinion of the war had just faded fast. They'd had the Kent State shootings in May of 1970, where more and more people were protesting the war. It wasn't a popular war, or they called it a conflict. If you were over there, it was a war. And I think, when the American GIs come back from Vietnam, they didn't have the same type of welcoming as the veterans that served in World War II or even Korea. There was such a bad reception for the guys coming back. There was, I remember so quickly that in Philadelphia, the people who was holding up banners calling the GIs baby killers and just all different things. That I was never spat upon, but the guys that I was with were actually spat upon, and that didn't go over too well. So, it seemed like once you got back, you didn't really want to tell people that you had served in Vietnam.
What was the most difficult part about being in the Vietnam War?
Well, other than some of the things you have to go through and some of the things you see that I've personally seen over there, that, still there's times where, I still have nightmares. But for me, the most difficult thing was being away from family. You're 12,000 miles away from home. It's a lot different now with the GIs because they've got email, they've got cell phones that they can call their family. I went for a whole almost 13 months without speaking to any of my family. The only communication was letters. And the guys used to write a lot to their girlfriends or their moms and dads, but to me, it was feeling like, you know, if it wasn't for the camaraderie ship that you had with the guys you served with, you know, it would have been a lot more difficult. But it was pretty close bunch of guys that was really